Childhood best friend's boyfriend dropped my cat for his heterosexual best buddy. Later he stood in the rain all night begging me for forgiveness. Ching ching. I'll do anything if you forgive me. I packed together the gifts he had given me and threw them into the trash. Then you go underground to atone for your sins. Okay. Wonderful novels converge into a book. Subscribe to Star Moon Romance not to miss the full text of a broadcast to the end. Do not forget to press the like. Leave a message. Share. Subscribe. Open the small bell. Wonderful story now begins. The third year of the long-distance relationship. Winter vacation. I was at home and Liam video. What time's your flight tomorrow? I confirmed the time with him. I'll drive to pick you up at 10 o'clock. I should be in time. Right? Through the cell phone screen. Liam's smile was gangly and gentle. There's no need to rush. You can sleep a little more before coming back. I blushed slightly. I want to see you soon. Because of the busy schedule of junior year. The last time we saw each other was during the National Day holiday. Me too. Liam paused slightly and suddenly added, I might bring a friend over for a few days when I go home this time. She's from the South and has never seen Midwest winter snow, so she's curious. I noticed that he mentioned this person in a somewhat intimate tone, so I asked, boy or girl? He's a junior, joined the photography club, and I've done a couple of photo shoots with him. His attitude was very frank, and I didn't think much of it at first. The next day when I went to pick up someone, I met the junior Liam was talking about. Her name was Yvonne, and she was very pretty, with the light skeleton and delicate features of a California girl, but with a very bold personality. As soon as we met, she came over to me and hit me on the shoulder, and turned to Liam and asked, Junior, what should I call your girlfriend? Sister-in-law? I wasn't used to such intimacy with strangers and frowned, looking at Liam. True to form, he sensed my discomfort and reached out to slap Yvonne's hand away. Spread out you. My girlfriend doesn't like it. She's in the same grade as me. Just call her sister. Yvonne covered the back of her hand and seemed to freeze for 2 seconds, then obediently called me sister. On the way back, Liam asked me, how's Snowball doing? He's gained weight again. My mom told me to play with him more and feed him less canned food. Liam leaned back and laughed. He just can't stop eating. I'll go check on him later. It's been a semester. I wonder if Snowball still knows me. I was about to respond when Yvonne suddenly interjected. Senior. Who is Snowball? A cat we found together in junior high school, and has been kept at my girlfriend's house. Before we left the house, I put a bottle of local specialty orange soda in the car, which Liam always loved to drink. He took a sip and put it back in the cup holder on the side. It wasn't long, however, before Yvonne surprisingly and naturally picked up the bottle of soda, unscrewed it, and took several sips. I saw this in the rearview mirror, and my hands subconsciously tightened on the steering wheel. Yeah, it's smooth to hold. My dad always put water here before, too. Liam let out a laugh and didn't touch the bottle of water again. Don't you dare mistake your dad. Taking advantage of the red light to stop, I turned my head to glare at him, only to have Liam reach out and cover my hands holding the steering wheel, whispering, we haven't seen each other for months. Why are you glaring at me? I was still a little upset, but this contact turned me into nothing. I gently shook my head and said, my mom went out early in the morning to buy ribs. Said, you must miss her cooking. She's never been this grand when I come home. Oh, Liam trailed off. So, is Lee jealous? Thinking Auntie favors me? Liam. Okay. Okay. He rubbed the top of my hair like a cat. My mom still favors you. She has since you were a kid. Every time you come to my house, she cooks a table and doesn't put a single chili pepper in it. So I have to get some chili sauce to mix with my rice. I admit that bringing Liam to talk about the past was more or less intentional. Maybe it's intuition. I didn't like Yvonne at first sight. Apparently Liam also realized this, and when we stopped the car, he took advantage of Yvonne getting out of the car and secretly came to my ear. Are you upset? Don't worry. It's just a friend. It won't shake Lee's supremacy in my heart. After we got out of the car, Yvonne suddenly smiled and said, "The relationship between Mr. and MS. Lee is really good. Envious?" Liam looked back at her. "If you're envious, then get a boyfriend yourself." I don't dare to dare. Nowadays there are too many scum. I'm afraid I don't know the right people. But if it's one like Senior, I can. Liam raised his eyebrows. Have a suitable candidate to bring over. I will check for you. The hotel Yvonne ordered is not far from our neighborhood. After we parted, I pursed my lips and walked forward. Liam caught up and grabbed my wrist, saying pitifully, "Did my subordinate make Her Highness unhappy again? I promised to give me a big hug when we met before, and I haven't hugged you yet today." I stopped my steps and turned my head to look at him. "Isn't this afraid that hugging will irritate you, Junior?" Before the words left my mouth, I was grabbed by Liam's waist and swept into his arms. Can't control her. He buried his face in the hollow of my shoulder and whispered, "I haven't seen you in 3 months. I want to kiss you so bad." Liam and I have spent our lives together since we were very young. From elementary school to high school. We even walked the same way to and from school. After high school, Liam confessed his love to me under the wisteria-covered wall of the school. Everything went smoothly and smoothly. When it came to applying for volunteering, we were admitted to different schools by mistake. I stayed in the city and he went to Bay Area, thousands of miles away. At first, I didn't think it mattered that we were in long-distance relationships. We had more than 10 years of relationship and shared memories. And even if we didn't spend time with each other, we still had a lot to talk about. When he wasn't busy with his classes, Liam would fly back to see me, spend 3 to 5 days together, and then go back again. The slight sense of strangeness that comes from being in a different place disappears the moment we meet. I brought Liam home, opened the door, and Snowball came running over, only to stop a few steps away, scrunching up into a ball and looking at us somewhat bemused. Liam drops his suitcase and crouches down. "What? You don't recognize me after not seeing me for 3 months?" I picked up the cat strips from the table and handed them to him. Snowball slowly rubbed himself over to finish them and pawed around his feet again. After lunch, Liam and I helped my mom with the dishes and went to our room one after the other. I had just closed the door to my room when he grabbed my wrist against the door panel. "Unlock it, Lee." The next second, searing kisses were planted. I closed my eyes and made myself concentrate when there was a knock on the door from outside. "Ching ching. Xiaoyang, come out and have some fruit." I nearly jumped up in shock, but the smile in Liam's eyes grew more pronounced. He said, "Okay, Auntie, we'll go out later." He then opened his suitcase and rummaged through the gifts he had brought back for me. As I sat on the edge of the bed, my eyes caught sight of an unfamiliar little pink bag in one corner of the suitcase. Just as I picked it up, Liam yanked it back. Don't move it. It's Yvonne's camera. I was a bit stunned. Why is her camera in your suitcase? Oh, her suitcase is too small to fit her stuff. So she put it here. I'll bring it to her tomorrow. Liam responded without much concern and showed me the gift he had prepared. It was a soft scarf and the latest iPad. Didn't you say you wanted to go to grad school? Take it and watch online classes. I hugged the tablet and couldn't tell if I was happy or confused. Liam's house was in the neighborhood across the street, and his parents were still out of town, so he ate dinner at my house before going back. When I left the house, it was snowing outside. Liam didn't let me see him off. It's snowing. It's too cold. You should go home early. I stood at the door of the building, grabbed the corner of his coat, and whispered, Anyway, no one is at your house. Why don't you stay at my house tonight? After a moment of silence, Liam still shook his head. It's okay. It's been a long time since I've been back. I need to clean the house too. I folded back and chatted with my parents for a while. In between, I picked up my cell phone and casually tapped on my friend circle, but suddenly froze in place. 10 minutes ago, Liam had posted a new picture of himself standing under a streetlight against the snow, with the caption, It's been a long time since I've seen snow. My high school classmate, Zhang Sidong, commented below, You're home. Did Ching take this for you? Liam replied, No. I was stunned for a while before I clicked in and messaged Liam. You didn't come home? He didn't reply to me right away. I sat on the couch with Snowball curled up in a sleeping ball next to me. I rubbed its head with a little bit of effort until my phone vibrated, and the emotions that were roiling in my heart seemed to suddenly condense into concrete shapes. Yvonne called me on the way back and said she wanted to take pictures of the snowy night. So I sent her the camera. It's home now. He replied to me, Why aren't you in bed? Waiting to hear from you. Then Liam called me directly by voice. Lee, it's getting late. You should go to bed. You have a bad heart and you're staying up late. I don't know if it was because of the current, but there was a hint of a raspy nasal tone in his voice. I was silent for a moment. You drink? Drink a little. That moment and Yvonne went out to shoot the snow. She was very excited. Ran to buy a can of beer. The results of their own did not finish. I had to. When he said this, his tone suddenly stopped, as if he realized he had missed something. The atmosphere was silent for a moment, so quiet that you could hear each other's breathing. And after a few moments, I said softly, Liam, I feel like I don't know you anymore. The phone hung up and I went back to my bedroom and lay on my bed, staring up at the ceiling in disbelief. Instead, my mind kept going back to the images in the car during the day. Yvonne was so naturally picking up the drink that Liam had been drinking, as if she had done it countless times before that. This semester, Liam and I had only met once, on the 4th of July, and in the countless chats before that, he had never mentioned this person to me. There was sudden movement outside the door. Footsteps from far away followed by a knock on the room door. Lee, are you asleep? After entering the door, Liam said, I deleted the circle of friends. That wine. I didn't drink the same can as her and asked the clerk for a paper cup. I have told Yvonne that she came just to see the snow, now that the snow has been seen. And it is almost New Year. Let her go home early. He said all that in one breath. But I still didn't have much of a reaction, just rubbing the stuffed doll in my hand in silence. That was also one of the gifts Liam gave me for my birthday several years ago. It was a while before I finally spoke. Can you delete her? Yes. Liam agreed without hesitation. He took out his cell phone and deleted Yvonne's friends in front of me, then sat down on the edge of the bed and gently wrapped his arms around me. Emily, don't be mad, he said. I've been looking forward to this day to see you when I get home for a long time. Hold on for another year. I'll be back in a year. He rarely called me that. And his voice was gentle beyond words. My heart softened in an instant. I spent the entire winter vacation with Liam. The sense of distance brought about by the long-distance relationship disappeared little by little. After the school year started, I had to reduce the frequency of chatting with Liam because I had to start studying for grad school. There were several times when I had the video on and I was reading and doing problems over here. And when I looked up, I saw him staring at me without taking his eyes off me. In April, it was Liam's birthday. So I took a vacation from school and flew downtown to see him. I didn't tell Liam before I went. So when I was standing at the south entrance of their school, I took out my cell phone and was about to send him a message when I bumped into Liam and Yvonne, who were laughing and joking with their cameras hanging on their heads. He and I both froze in place. I turned to walk away and Liam flew up to catch up with me, his tone helpless. Lee, could you at least listen to my explanation? I turned my head to look at him and said expressionlessly, Fine. You explain. Morning photography club has a picking activity. When I left, my camera was left on the lawn. Yvonne said her hat was also left behind. We went back together to look for something. So we were left behind alone, he said, pulling out his phone to show me the group chat message. Indeed. 40 minutes ago, Liam had ate another person in the group, telling him to lead the group back to school first, saying he was going back to look for his camera. But how could it be such a coincidence? My hand tightens silently on the strap of my backpack while Yvonne follows behind me with an apologetic face. I'm sorry, Senior. You mustn't take this the wrong way. I didn't mean to be alone with Senior. Liam frowned and turned his head. Shut up if you can't talk. Yvonne was stunned in place. A look of aggression flashed in her eyes. I'm sorry. I didn't mean it like that. He rubbed his brow in annoyance. You go back first. I'll coax my girlfriend. I suddenly wanted to laugh, and then literally laughed out loud. Liam, what are you doing? I said. Just that good at acting. Do you want me to give you an award? The sun was slowly sinking in the west, and the fiery red light shone on Liam's face, and there was suddenly more weariness in his eyes. Stop it. Lee, he said. Yvonne and I really don't have anything. It's so rare to see each other. Don't make it like this. Okay. I held back the lump in my voice. So you friend her back, right? Yes, I did. That's because I was sick in the hospital last week and my campus card wouldn't swipe out. So she paid my medical bills for me. So I gave her the money back. Liam's scowl went cold as he took out his phone and tapped it a few times, handing it to me. Here. Check it out. Have she and I ever spoken to each other besides transferring money? You were sick last week? I was suddenly stunned. Why didn't you tell me? You were busy studying for your exams. How could I dare to make you worry? When I tried to talk to you on video, you dismissed me by reading books and brushing up on problems. Liam sighed softly. Lee, I know that school is very important to you, but we're at least in a relationship. So take the time to care about me. Okay. I held his cell phone and looked down. On the screen, There were only 2 loan transfer and collection messages. Other than that, not a single extra word. I can go ahead and delete her now too if it upsets you. Liam reached for his phone and I whispered, "Forget it. Don't delete it." He probably heard the apology in my tone, and after a moment, settled down and opened his arms at me. "Come on. Give me a hug." That night, Liam stayed with me at a hotel outside the school. He kissed me for a long time, but braked before the last step and rolled over to sit up. "I'm going to get a glass of water to calm down." The truth is, because I wanted to save that for after the wedding. Liam and I never got that far in the 3 years we were together. But this instant, an impulse from nowhere made me grab his wrist. "Don't go." Liam turned his head to look at me. In the warm yellow light, his well-defined face looked particularly seductive. "Lee." He moved the knot in his throat gently. "Do you realize what you're doing?" His voice was uncharacteristically muffled, and his tone carried a danger that made my heart flutter. I flinch again and withdraw my hand, pulling the covers up over my face. "Forget it." Liam gave a low chuckle. "I'm in no hurry. Save it for our wedding day." The next day was Liam's birthday, and I accompanied him to the Oceanarium and the Peak Tram. In the evening, he called up some of his photography club classmates and said he had arranged to have dinner with them. When we met, I realized that Yvonne was in the group. Obviously, I confirmed yesterday that there was no other connection between them. But when I saw Yvonne's smiling face, a wave of discomfort inevitably surged through me at that moment. On the way to the hot pot, a man suddenly stopped in front of us and said to Liam and Yvonne, "I'm a photography student from Y University and I'm here for my internship. I feel that you two are really a good match. Can I take a couple photo for you?" I turned my head sharply and realized that Yvonne, who was walking on the other side of the street, was almost on Liam's arm. She let out a giggle and said, "Sure," as she laughed. "Nice sweat. Who wants to shoot with you?" Liam grimaced and said, "Are you nuts? My girlfriend is still standing here. You can't joke around." Yvonne looked at me graciously. "I'm sorry, sister." Even though she said that, there was no trace of apology in her eyes. Someone else explained to me, "Sister-in-law, don't be angry. Yao is just this kind of big-hearted person. She treats everyone like a brother. Brotherly sincerity towards you is definitely something that the sun and moon can see." I pursed my lips and said somewhat blankly, "Really?" At that moment, I only felt that Liam was extremely far away from me. Obviously, the light on the roadside shone on him. Obviously, we have known each other for 15 years, but his eyes seemed to be immersed in an infinite ocean. I couldn't see the emotions under his eyes, nor could I see his heart. When I came back to my senses, we were already sitting at the hot pot store. Yvonne and a few others were joking and ordering food, while Liam beside me was holding my hand and calling me softly, "Lee, Emily." My eyelashes quivered. "Why? Don't you push her away?" He stared into my eyes. "Would you believe me if I said I didn't notice?" I didn't know what to say. Believing or not believing, or telling him to cut Yvonne off, or even making a scene without regard to the occasion, could not relieve the negative emotions that were gradually spreading like a rising tide inside me. In the end, I just bowed my head and said, "Forget it. Forget it. Believe it or not. Forget it." After dinner, they coaxed me to book a few rooms in a nearby Airbnb, saying that they were not going back tonight. and that they were going to play a few rounds of board games and stay outside. As it turned out, once they actually started playing, it was pretty obvious that Yvonne was bailing on Liam, no matter what ID card she was holding. In the end, the other two carpoolers dropped their cards and pointed at Yvonne, cursing and swearing. Do you know how to play? You're protecting your boyfriend like your mom protects her son. What kind of game do you want to play if you want to talk about love? Go to the hotel. Liam tensed his jaw. His voice was cold. She's not my girlfriend. Oh, so it's a female licking dog. Yvonne shot up. Can you speak? Who are you calling a dog licker? We usually play like this. What's in your way? Just now in the hot pot store. She drank a lot of wine. Her eyes are dense with drunkenness. Seeing that those two people were even more angry, the remaining few people hurriedly stood up to round up the scene. The scene was a mess. The emotions in my heart finally drowned to the top, openly stood up, and did not return. Liam chased me all the way over, and just as he entered the door of the room, he grabbed my wrist and explained, "She's drunk and not thinking clearly." Liam. You know what? I take a deep breath, trying to keep my voice as calm as possible. You've been explaining all the behavior between her and you since months ago when this person first appeared in front of me. Even if everything you say is true, have you ever thought that there is an easier way to just put an end to the situation? Liam closed his eyes. So Leah, because I'm in a relationship with you, I have to not make any friends of the opposite sex. Right? Opposite sex. Friends. I thought back to earlier, when he said lightly in the video, "It's just a junior. It's not important." Without realizing it, the scales in his mind had tipped over. But it's only been a little over 2 months. While I was busy with my grad school studies, during these 2 months when I couldn't be by his side all the time, how many times did he and Yvonne have contact with each other alone, even if it was just as friends, when I couldn't see them? Yvonne had answered yes so naturally and graciously when she was mistaken for a couple. Did that mean that it had happened many times before that? Liam, I said softly, I don't think we may have a wedding day. He seemed irritated by the words, and the light in his eyes sank violently. Is it okay if I go to her and talk it out? He gritted his teeth and said, word for word, I'll go and make it clear to Yvonne now, and I'll cut her off, and I won't say another word to her. Is that all right? Will that satisfy you? Leah? Liam slammed the door and left the room with a loud thud, after which the only thing left in the room was the faint smell of alcohol. It occurred to me that Liam had also been drinking during dinner earlier. Originally, his friend was carrying a glass of wine and wanted to come and clink it with me as well. But Liam stopped him. My girlfriend has a bad heart. She can't drink. Obviously, he remembers. Obviously, I came here to surprise him. I curled up in a ball on the bed and cried silently. I don't know how long I cried, but I gradually fell asleep until I woke up with a jolt a long time later. My cell phone showed the time. It was 5 a.m. The room was empty. No Liam. Oh yeah. He went to look for Yvonne, and then didn't come back all night. I felt my whole body shaking a little, biting my fingers, unknowingly getting harder and harder. It wasn't until there was a sharp stinging pain in my knuckles that I loosened my teeth and sat up to start packing for the airport. By the time I got home, the time was noon. With my heart beating extremely fast and my temples throbbing with pain, I braced myself against the desktop and breathed heavily, barely finding 2 pills to take before collapsing on the couch and falling asleep. until I was awakened by a doorbell. I opened my eyes, briefly lost in thought for a moment before slowly walking over and opening the door. I was expecting my parents, but standing outside the door was Liam, completely awake. I was about to close the door when he put his hand against it and forced it open. That's how I was able to see Yvonne following him, raising a provocative smile at me. "Lee, listen to me." Liam probably sobered up and looked at me a little anxiously. "What happened last night wasn't what you think." "Yes. Senior came to me last night and said that he cares about you so much that he's afraid you'll misunderstand. So he doesn't intend to hang out with me anymore." Yvonne toned helpless. "In fact, we are just ordinary friends. I know that Senior's sister is insecure, but..." My temples began to throb again. I clutched the door handle and tried to suppress the tremor in my voice. "Can you take your junior and get the hell away from my door?" "Liam, let's break up." He looked at me, his eyes frozen for a moment, as if he couldn't believe it. "Leah, Yvonne is still at the back of the fire. Sister, you must not break up because of me." I scolded in a loud voice. "Shut up. It's none of your business." The scene was a mess when Snowball ran out, let out a warning grunt, jumped on top of Yvonne and scratched her on the neck with a claw. "Ah!" she screamed as Liam grabbed Snowball, who turned around and bit at Liam's hand, which he shook off violently. After a dull thud, Snowball slid down the wall and lay twitching on the floor for a couple of moments before he was motionless. Sound stuck in my throat and unable to get out. I lunged over and picked Snowball up. He was a round, snowball-shaped, long-haired cat, but at the moment his fur was in disarray and a blinding scarlet dripped from the side of his mouth. My whole body froze in place, and for a moment, it was like being in an endless wilderness, with only the sound of the bitter wind in my ears. After a long time, I raised my head sluggishly and looked at Liam. His lips twitched twice, and the light under his eyes went gray for a moment. "Lee, don't call me that." I seemed to lose all my strength. "I'm disgusted. Really disgusted." "Liam." I carried Snowball to the hospital. He was stiff, and the doctor said he had a fractured skull and a brain hemorrhage, so he couldn't be saved. Snowball was actually a stray cat that Liam and I rescued together when we were in middle school. It was raining heavily at the time, and it was stuck in a sewer manhole, so we had to think of many ways to get it out. Later we fell in love. And Liam said, "When we get married, we'll buy Snowball a little bow tie to wear so he can walk in front of us as a ring bearer." Snowball seems to like me more than Liam. Whenever I came home, he would run over to me, rubbing against my feet, and even jumping into my arms, burying his head in my chest and gently pampering me. Even when Liam was holding a cat strip, it had never been so enthusiastic about him. After the sound of footsteps from far away, I heard Liam's voice above my head. "Lee." "Snowball." I looked up at him with my eyes out of focus. "What do you call Snowball?" "Liam? You're the one who dropped it and now you're asking what?" In the reflection of his eyes, I could clearly see myself now, full of hate. Liam seems crushed. His voice trembles as he falls to his knees in front of me. "It's my fault, Lee. Let's go save another cat. I'll accompany you to save another cat." I was about to speak when my eyes suddenly fell on the side of his shoulder. There was a bright red mark there. It was as if a large invisible hand had grabbed me by the throat, or was dipped into the depths of the lake. And I was almost on the verge of not being able to breathe. It was so hard to slow down that I actually laughed. Liam, did you not notice that you still have hickeys on your shoulders? He raised his hand to cover the slightly ripped collar on his shoulder and subconsciously said, "It wasn't last night," and then never spoke again. The only sound left in the empty corridors of the pet hospital was the sound of the wind through the room. "So you guys slept together before, didn't you?" He didn't answer, just looked at me desperately. Liam, it's dirty. You're so dirty. What happened after that was like a dropped frame from a film movie. Liam followed me in silence, and I didn't bother to chase him away. I just laid Snowball to rest in silence, placing a bunch of daisies and his uneaten canned food in front of his headstone. When we got home, my parents stopped Liam at the door because they grew up together. They never saw Liam without a smile on their faces. For the first time, I saw my mom get mad at Liam. "What the hell did you do? What the hell did you do to Emily?" She even tried to pounce over and do it, but my dad held her in place. He looked at Liam, and his tone was cold. "You go back. Ching Ching doesn't want to see you. I won't let you step into my house again." That night I had so many fragmented dreams. I dreamt that when I was 7 years old, I had just started elementary school, and by mistake I was at the same table with Liam. I dreamt that on my 10th birthday, after he made me angry and I ignored him for a day, Liam bought a double-layer cake and brought it to me, saying with a smile, "Lily, ignore no one." I dreamed of the rainy day when I was 14. Liam and I crouched next to the well, anxiously watching the snowball inside, dreaming of the summer I was 18. Liam and I stood under the ivy-covered brick wall, accepting that long-expected confession. I thought I would wear a wedding dress and walk with him down the aisle. I thought distance wasn't an issue, and that sincerity could stop anything. I thought the bond of more than a decade of childhood best friends could always overcome the temporary separation of 4 years. I thought it was all in my head, from friends to lovers. The youngest and brightest 15 years of my life were bound to Liam. When looking back on any of these moments, his presence is almost always present, and we are almost inseparable from each other. It rained heavily that night, and with the sound of gusts of spring thunder, I awoke with a start. Grabbing a bag from the storage room, I began to pack. 2 large bags full of every gift Liam had given me from the age of 7 until now. By the time it was all packed, it was fully light. I carried the bags downstairs, only to see Liam outside my flat door. He was soaking wet, completely drenched by the rain, as if he had been standing in the rain all night. When he saw me, he called out in a muffled voice, "Ching Ching, Ching Ching. As long as you forgive me, I can do anything." I threw the 2 large bags of gifts into the trash can in front of him and turned to look at him expressionlessly. "Then you go to hell. Go underground and make amends to Snowball, and I'll forgive you." I used to think Liam's eyes were beautiful, light brown, like sun-drenched amber. But when they were filled with irrevocable remorse and pain, they were like puddles of dirty mud. "Liam, you know what?" I said, word for word. I had changed my target school for grad school, and I went to N-Town this time to tell you the news. Why are you so dirty? Can't you stand it? How long have you and Yvonne known each other? And you can't wait to sleep with her? Isn't it Junior? Isn't it a heterosexual friend? Stop it. Lee. His eyelashes twitched twice, and tears fell from his eyes. It was just an accident. It was after I went back to school. There was a time when the Film Association went to a villa in the suburbs for a reunion. She got drunk and came crying to question why I deleted her friends. But I didn't want to have a future with her. Lee, I just wanted to marry you. Yeah, you don't want to have a future with her. You just enjoy the thrill of it. Not only that, you can't stop showing it off to me. You knew I liked you and thought that this liking would make me forgive you. I looked at him expressionlessly. Liam, we've known each other for 15 years. A whole 15 years. These 3 years of being in love have been the happiest 3 years of my life. Even if we don't see each other even a quarter of the time a year that we did before. The thought of the long decades ahead of us together. Every day I spend, I feel one step closer to that bright future. But you don't think so. Yvonne's been drinking. Have you been drinking too? It's only the 3rd year in a different place. And you can't stand the loneliness already. The future is so long. Marriage is so trivial. Isn't it true that in the future, there will be countless more Yvonne? He looked at me. His eyes were gray with despair. But I'm sure I love you. Lee. Maybe. But all I feel now is nausea at the sight of you. And I can't even help it. I raised my hand and slapped him hard across the face. I wish you'd get the hell away from me. Don't bother me again or I'll call the police. Or maybe kill you and die with you. It wasn't easy to erase all traces of Liam from my life. After a few days' reprieve at home, I returned to school. My roommate was taken aback when she saw me. Why do you look so pale? She worriedly reached out and probed my forehead. Ching ching. Are you sick? I shook my head sluggishly and circled her waist, whispering, something happened. But I can't talk about it right now. She stroked my head soothingly. It's okay. You can talk to me anytime you want to. In the evening, she went to the cafeteria to buy food and brought me one too. I opened the bag and suddenly heard her hesitant voice. Ching ching. When I came back, I saw your boyfriend standing under the dormitory building. Did you have a fight? My hands froze on the chopsticks for a moment. Then I tried to keep my voice calm. I broke up. Shia. Silent for 2 seconds. Whispered. I'm sorry. Whether it's my roommates or my classmates. Those who are a little more familiar with me know that I have a boyfriend who I grew up with. When I mentioned it, they even expressed their envy. Then wouldn't you have only been with each other since the beginning? At that time, I shyly and proudly raised the corners of my lips and answered, yes, by my own inference. I used to believe that Liam, like me, never had any other thoughts. How ridiculous. In my shopping app favorites, I put in a lot of links to wedding dresses and suits and all sorts of decorative arrangements for the wedding. I always thought that although the day was still far away, but there were so many things and trivial, it was good to pick them up by myself little by little. That night, I lay on my bed in the dormitory, deleting the more than 800 items in my favorites, one by one. I didn't shed tears when I deleted them. I just couldn't stop thinking back. In these 3 years, it's not that no one has ever expressed their affection for me. It's just that I rejected them when they first opened their mouths. Most people were also decent enough to politely say goodbye and leave. There was only one jock, who relentlessly sent me flowers and gifts, and blocked the library and dormitory floors, insisting that I try it out with him. Finally, he got annoyed. Do you really think your boyfriend hasn't had other things on his mind? Then no men the best. In 3 years' time, he may have cheated on you many times behind your back, but I trusted Liam completely. So I just laughed without a care in the world. I don't mind if this speculation can make you feel better. I trusted him so much. Why did I believe him so much? The next morning, when my roommate and I went to class, Liam was already standing under a tree in the morning mist. I thought he would come over and say something to me, but he didn't move, just stood still, looking at me covetously and carefully. It was like that for the next half a month. He didn't seem to go back to class or pay attention to anything else. My roommate seemed to understand what was going on, and every time we met, she would discreetly shield me behind her, glaring warily at Liam. One day, the dormitory dinner, she was drunk. On the way back to see Liam still waiting there, pointing at him and cursing. Why didn't you hesitate for a second when you did the wrong thing to Ching Ching? Now that what should have happened has happened. What are you regretting, and what are you pretending to be a great lover? I don't care. Liam looked at me in silence. A few days later, the school organized an 800-meter physical test. I had a bad heart when I was a kid, and then I took medicine for a long time before I was almost like a normal person. I ran very slowly, but I don't know if it's because I've been in a depressed mood lately, which affected my body. After I finished running, I propped up my knees and gasped sharply, and suddenly my eyes went black and I fell down. In the haze, someone picked me up and ran all the way. He smelled as if he had once been familiar and was now unfamiliar. Finally, I opened my eyes in front of the hospital bed in the campus clinic and saw my housemates who were full of worry, and Liam, who was standing not far away. I instantly realized who the person who brought me to the hospital was. After a few moments of silence, I told my housemate, "You go out first. I'll have a word with him alone." She looked at me worriedly. I shook my head. "It's okay." When she left, Liam took a step forward and looked at me. "Lee." I suddenly grabbed the glass of water on the nightstand and slammed it down on him. He didn't dodge, letting the glass hit him in the corner of his forehead before it hit the ground and shattered, blood dripping down drop by drop. "Does it hurt?" I looked at him, even smiling. "What are you doing?" "Thinking I should be grateful, or hoping I'll forgive you." Liam lifted his hand and wiped his forehead, not even frowning at the sight of blood. "Don't ever come back to me. If it wasn't for the sake of your parents, I would have called the police." He looked at me and his eyes reddened for a moment, and it was only after a long while that he managed to squeeze a foggy, obscure voice out of his throat. "There's no future for us, is there? Lee? Why do you have to think that you could have had a future with me after it's all gone?" I closed my eyes, and when I opened them again, I looked at him as calmly as I could. "Liam, I used to really like you. I had a lot of alternative rings, dresses, garlands, wedding favors for our wedding, and my favorites. I was walking our path with all my heart, and no scenery along the way could attract me. But you were attracted. You stopped and stayed. For that one lousy person," I continued, itching to dump all the pain I had felt all those days on him. "I thought about saving that for our wedding night. And maybe we'll both be shy, but you'll definitely still be the one to guide me. We'll have another child. A daughter, I hope. Grow a little taller, and then you can teach her to play basketball." That's all I think about on those nights when my thoughts go crazy because I can't see you. And you're in Yvonne's bed. He covered his face in pain, as if had been hit by something. "Please, Lee." I looked at him and smiled softly. "Actually, Yvonne friended me the other day. All those chats you deleted. She sent them to me to look at. And in her camera memory card, pictures of you. Pictures of you and her together." His eyes looked like the wreckage left after a tsunami had rolled through them, gray and messy and devoid of life. It was the first time I'd seen Liam cry like that. Remorse and despair were like balloons blown up to their fullest capacity, filling almost his entire being. The hoarse sobs that came from his throat were like the hissing of a trapped animal. Once he had shed tears in front of me. Only once. It was his sophomore year of high school, when he was injured and broke a bone on the field. And I ran over there in a panic to see his red eyes. But he was gritting his teeth and refusing to make a sound. My heart ached so much that I burst into tears, crying so miserably that I ended up having to have Liam comfort me in turn. But that was before. A past we can never get back. Seeing him in tears at the moment didn't make my heart feel anything but boredom. You go away, Liam, and leave me alone. I have a long future ahead of me. There will be weddings and children too. It's just that none of that concerns you anymore. There are so many memories between Liam and me. Whether it was a long period of warmth and love, or a short but intense hatred, they had formed a part of my life, and it was impossible for me to completely cut them off, but only to carry the memories with me as I continued to move forward. At the end of the summer, I found a tattoo parlor and had Snowball tattooed on the inside of my wrist. On my way home, I ran into Liam in front of the neighborhood. He was sitting on a bench, looking up at me, and said softly, "Lee, I know the sight of me makes you sick. So, in moving out." The bright sunlight fell on him, illuminating his already pale face almost transparently. At that second, it was as if time and space overlapped and went back in time. When I was 17, he was sitting on a school bench, illuminated by the sunlight, waving at me. "Lee, come here. I'll give you a present." Not without noticing that Liam's love for me seemed to be deeper and more enduring after we'd been separated and I'd hated him to the core. And I only found it ridiculous. If I had known this day would come, why would I have done those things in the first place? "Just move out," I said expressionlessly. "You don't have to come and say goodbye to me. I really don't want to see you." He let out a low chuckle. "Yeah, okay." I didn't really see Liam again for a long time. It wasn't until the day I got into grad school and got my acceptance letter that I got a message from a strange number. "Congratulations." There was no note, no message, but I somehow guessed it was Liam. In the end, I deleted the message and blocked his phone number. In my second year of grad school, I met a guy named Zhao Wangguan. He was a graduate student from the med school next door, and he was interning at the hospital when I went for a checkup. He was the polar opposite of Liam. Liam's love was wanton and open, and his expression was passionate. But Zhao Wangguan always looked at me gently and silently, and his eyes seemed to be able to embrace everything about me. He also saw the tattoo on my wrist, but didn't ask anything. It wasn't until the day I graduated with my master's degree that he confessed his love for me at the graduation ceremony. When I went home, I was accompanied by Zhao Wangguan, my new boyfriend. He found his job on my hometown side as well. My parents were obviously relieved, but my mom seemed to have something else on her mind, and hesitated for a few days before she told me the news about Liam. Or rather, the news of his death. He left half a month ago, and was found to have stage 4 lymphoma. He didn't chemo. He just snuck back in for a visit. And when he saw you now with Joe, he left to go back to school. It seems that after graduation, always drink. Rest and relaxation is not regular. The body collapsed. My original action of digging watermelon stopped for a moment, and after a long time, I found my voice. I know. On the weekend, my boyfriend and I took the time to go back to the high school. The benches were still standing under the row of willow trees at the edge of the playground, and they looked very old. I reached under the armrests and groped around for a while, finally finding the groove that Liam had found when I was 17. Had said he was giving me a present, and then had called me over, pointed to the spot and said, "Come and look for it if you want. Maybe I'll put a little surprise gift in there." He was true to his word, and I found a perfume sample, a small wax-sealed note, and a small silver ring in the alcove. It was like a fairy tale treasure hunt. This time, what I found was still a note sealed with wax. When I opened it, there was only one short sentence on it. By Lee. I'm really going to make it up to Snowball this time. My boyfriend curiously approached me and asked, "Who's Snowball?" "It's the cat I have tattooed on my wrist." He sensed that I was in a bad mood, hugged me and whispered, "What about the person who left the note?" I crumpled the note into a ball and threw it into the trash can. An insignificant stranger.